Hello and welcome back to the Mad Cinema Show. I'm Scott G.
And I'm Phil D.
Today we're talking about Slaughterhouse-Five.
Mm-hmm.
So, for now, at least, or maybe the future, or maybe before.
Sometime.
Because everything exists all at once, apparently.
Well, as Whisper Man said it, time is a flat circle.
But, so I've watched the movie. Mm-hmm. You have not.
No, I've read the book.
And I have not.
Yeah.
So that's how things are at this point.
We've decided to approach this in a different way.
Yeah.
Kind of inspired by the way we were talking about Game of Thrones, in which I had seen the season.
Right.
But I just read this book, which I've known about the film for a long time.
Right.
But I wanted to read it. I found it for like $5,
Heck yeah.
Picked it up, and as soon as I got done with it, I was like, Scott, I don't know how to feel about this.
Yeah.
But would you like to watch a movie and then talk about it?
And then as soon as I got done with the movie, I think I texted you, this is the most frustrating movie I've ever seen in my life.
And I was like, oh, so it's a good representation of the book. Okay. This sounds fun.
Yeah. So
this is our inspiration for today.
We're just going to rant and be frustrated and really, really, really try to parse out this book, because it seems like it should be more complicated than it is.
Yeah, it seems like the point behind it is something more grand, like like a Moby Dick,
or less
something.
Tangible. To some degree.
Something ephemeral,
something that makes us sound like pretentious assholes.
Exactly. That's why I used the word
trying
ephemeral.
To explain
That's why I said it. Something transient. The thing about it is, like, its simplicity is the point of it, and its contradiction to being something deep is the point of it, and it actually, the book itself, which this is a cool thing that I know isn't in the movie, because we just talked about this, the fucking first chapter isn't the book. Right. You were telling me about that. Yeah, the first chapter isn't even the book that you're reading.
They almost completely admit that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it doesn't make sense for a movie.
Yeah, it wouldn't make... Yeah, no.
Mm-hmm. No.
With all the other shit that was going on.
Yeah.
Because like we were saying, it's like, this is a very simple, relatively simple concept to get your head around, but in the context of the book, and I would say even the film, it takes a little while for you to get that.
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on, but nothing going on at all.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's the most complicated nothing ever. Yeah.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, kind of is.
That's probably the simplest way of putting it. Yeah. It's the most complicated nothing ever.
Yeah, kind of is. Yeah. So, I'd like to start this out, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, to elaborate a little bit more on the first chapter of the book, it's basically Kurt Vonnegut's experience, Kurt Vonnegut Jr.'s experience. Is that right, Junior? He's Junior.
Yeah.
His experience in World War II, because he was actually in the bombing of Dresden, and from his account, basically when he left the war,
he was a POW.
So some of what's going on was, what was actually happening to him in Dresden, and the thing is, when he left, and I mean, so you got to think this was what 43, 44, is that right?
Roundabouts.
Yeah, so he got to go home, and the first thing he thought, because he was a writer, is, well, I should be writing something profound about my experience in the war. That's what happens, right?
Yeah.
You go to war, and then you come back, and then you have this great novel, this opus.
Right.
And instead, he couldn't get a book out, because he just kept going, what the fuck do you say about war?
Yeah.
What do I even say? What can anybody say about war? It's terrible. And so it took him, what is that, 25, 30 years?
Just about, yeah.
Yeah,
because when did you say the book came out? It was
69. 69, that's what it says.
And the film came out in 1972.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. so I mean, it took him years to even be able to think of something, and the only thing he could think of was to make this satiristic loop of a movie that's I mean it's
of a book
that's right. It's funny, yeah. But to make this story that is a pointless endeavor, and it's a continuation of the thoughts that he had in war, and it's like the main character, Billy Pilgrim, is his worst human reactions, because he didn't react in a violent way. He didn't react in a horrible way. Instead, he curled up like a child. He was scared. That's what Billy Pilgrim did the whole time. He was.
I can see that a little bit as like speaking from the movie, because they don't really, like, one of my notes here is Billy's not really there for any of this. Like,
no,
he's kind of checked out throughout the majority of this movie and the majority of those events. It's not even that he's necessarily terrified, although there are moments where it's like, obviously you'd be scared, to some degree.
War, man.
Yeah. But for the most part, it's just a kind of simple apathy towards everything.
And that's been there since he was a child. It wasn't like war made that happen. Yeah. No. So I want to read this one little thing of it, because this is something we were discussing that is not in the movie,
right.
But I think it's a really cool little thing. So this just kind of I'm just going to dump right into this. It says, "It is so short and jumbled and jangled, Sam, because there is nothing intelligent to say about a massacre. Everybody is supposed to be dead, to never say anything or want anything ever again. Everything is supposed to be quiet after a massacre, and it always is, except for the birds. And what do the birds say? All there is to say about a massacre. Things like, pooty wheat." Right?
Yeah.
And that's the end of the book as well.
Right.
And they kind of foreshadow that right here.
They pretty much tell you what this story is about right up front.
Nothing. It's about fucking nothing. It's about how pointless war is.
Right.
Yeah. But that moment there, that idea of only the birds are left.
Right.
Everything
else is silent. The whole world is quiet.
It makes me think of, for instance, the kindergarten scene in Children of Men.
Yeah.
Only the birds.
Yeah. I get that.
I can get that. It's a powerful concept. It really is.
Yeah.
Man, my peas are popping.
Yeah, man, you better mind your P's and B's there.
My P's and B's. My plosives are so plosive. Yes, but
segue. But yeah, that's something really interesting that I had to try to. It really did take me, because when I first watched this movie, I was incredibly frustrated, because, like,
you were looking for something deep, weren't you?
I was expecting it. I was expecting something a little bit more substantial than, nothing means anything, guys. And I usually hate that, but this is kind of it's like we were saying before. It's just like he has distilled this singular idea into such a interesting enough narrative, and every bit of that narrative is based on that one idea. So it's just like, it's kind of that whole thing of, and I know I'm rambling, it's kind of that whole thing of, it's just like, are you a genius because you can handle dealing with multiple themes, or are you a genius because you can take one theme and just run it into the ground so thoroughly that nothing else is going to top it?
Yeah. And this is also amazing because I don't know how funny the movie is.
It's not, man, to tell you the truth. I was kind of, when I was looking at IMDb and it said comedy, I was just like, what? I didn't get that at all. I mean, yeah, there's some charming scenes.
Yeah, I think
not a lot of it's like laugh out loud funny.
Dude, there are some parts in the book that are just fucking funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sometimes it's in spots that it shouldn't be so funny either.
Yeah, well, does his wife go fucking insane when he... So is there a part where he gets in a plane crash?
Absolutely.
Okay, does his wife go fucking insane after that? Like, drives the Cadillac down the wrong way, smashes into a bunch of fucking cars kind of shit? Yeah. That shit's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's also only it's only mentioned a little bit. It's not like a big. It's not as big of a deal as it is in the movie.
It's like the action scene.
Yeah, see, that's what Mom was telling me. Is it was like the big deal. I'm like, yeah, it's just kind of mentioned.
Yeah,
I think they elaborate more on her in the movie because it makes sense to do so. You know, they must, because she's kind of there.
Yeah,
they just kind of talk about that. He seems to just not like her. And her father. So they have her father. Does he die in the plane crash with him, or does he? So. Yeah, because like Billy is the only person that survives. He's there
in the plane, but they don't ever mention whether he lives or dies.
Oh, and Billy's the only one that survives.
Yeah,
yeah. So after that, is he in the hospital?
I think it's kind of implied that he's the only one that survives. Yes, he's in the hospital.
Okay. Well, so those things. Well, okay. So let's just real quick lay out Billy Pilgrim's life chronologically, because just as simple strokes. So,
so
he's a kid. Well, first he's a kid. Did they do that at all?
There's a scene in the movie where his dad throws him into a pool.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's it.
Yeah. Okay. So there's little bits of that, and so that actually matters a lot. Is that he was a kid that was that had like a overbearing father and was
kind of a doting mother.
Exactly. And it was one of those things that like made him a very meek kid, and so that's just kind of a character building spot in his life, right? So that happens. He's already not a strong individual, and then he gets drafted into the war, right? So in the movie, does he ever shoot anybody?
No.
Yeah, he never does that at all.
Never even holds a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because he's an apprentice priest.
Yeah.
Or something. Yeah.
Does he go in as a priest in the book? Wow, if he does, I don't remember that.
Yeah, because he's not like ordained or anything, but he's like that kind of guy. And I guess at some point, like, he gets stranded.
Oh, okay.
Like, on German lines.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then the Paul Lazario dude and then another dude,
and the big guy, the bigger guy?
Yeah.
Okay, so the big guy is the one I was talking about that gets shot.
Okay.
I don't know whether it's Lazario that shoots him or whether it's Billy Pilgrim that shoots him.
He doesn't get shot in the movie.
Okay, see, that dude gets, like, his leg infected.
Yeah, that happens.
Okay,
like his feet or whatever. He's got like his feet's like all black and like falling apart, literally.
Yeah, so I think it's because he got shot,
like some
shot in the foot.
Trench foot.
Well, I think he got shot in the foot in the book.
Oh, okay.
They maybe just made another injury for thing, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. Is Billy accidentally bumped a rifle or something like that and got him shot in the fucking foot. And so it's like stuff like that.
So he just Jar Jar Binks.
Yes, yeah. And I think there might be more of that in the book where he's like a Mr. Magoo.
He's got it failing upwards essentially.
He was like, "Fuck, man, yeah." And he just does shit the whole time.
Yeah.
So when he's in the war, do they put the jacket on him?
He's got the jacket. I do mention that in my notes. Let me get to my notes.
Okay.
Yeah, because of his boots and coat, he stands out from every other soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly a visual metaphor.
It is. It's a visual metaphor, but the thing is that visual metaphor is played out in the books just as clearly.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, I think this book is good with its texture. You know,
yeah. That is something I will say about the movie.
Yeah.
It is incredibly put together.
Okay.
I mean, like, I can't remember who the director's name, but all the actors are good. The acting's great. Editing is phenomenal. This is some of the most impressive editing I've ever seen. And like, the cinematography is really, really good too.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, so that's one of the other things that like made me frustrated in the movie when I first saw it. Why it came by. So like, this movie is so fucking well put together. I don't understand why I don't like just love it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's see. After the war, he goes back home and becomes a dentist.
He's an optometrist in the movie.
Oh shit! He is an optometrist. You're right. You're right. Yeah. He is an optometrist.
Because I was thinking he was a dentist too.
Yeah, he is an optometrist. You're right.
So
and that's his father-in-law's practice that he's working for, right?
No, don't they own a school?
Yeah, but I thought that he works for his father-in-law.
Yeah, essentially.
How does that work?
Well,
so
from what I understand, he was going to before he got drafted, he was just going to optometry school, like a really prestigious one.
He was
and I don't know if
see, I thought when he got out, he joined his father's practice.
Our father-in-law's
practice.
Yeah.
I think that's what was going on with that.
Okay, maybe. It was my understanding that the father might have still joined his practice, but I think how he met his wife is that he was like a dean or like some other important figurehead that puts money into a fucking university and then gets money back somehow for that.
I think
and so that's how.
And she was part of
she just comes from money.
Yeah, but I want to say they did a thing about the way they met in the book. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's a detail I do not remember.
Yeah, but okay. So then he gets married to what is it, Valerie or something like that?
Yeah.
We'll go with it. If it's wrong, we don't care.
Yeah, whatever. Billy's the only one that matters.
That's right.
Yeah. So then he gets married. I guess chronologically, the next thing that would happen would be the plane crash.
Yeah. Plane crash. Wife goes crazy.
Yeah, he's in the hospital. He's in a coma.
Yeah, and then he gets out.
So is there the guy in the hospital that's like a
trying to write a book or whatever?
Yeah, that's trying to write a book. Yeah. Is he British? Or was he just working? No, he just fought with the British. That's all it was. He was talking about the SAS guys and stuff. No, he okay, yeah. And then wait, we skipped something.
The bombing of Dresden.
Well, that's when he was in the war.
That's when he was in
I just kind of skipped over war. War happened.
Yeah.
War was bad.
There's
nothing to say about War, Scott.
What are we talking about?
No, when he's before the plane crash, that's when when he gets abducted.
Is it before the plane crash?
I think so.
Because I thought it was afterwards. Once he gets out of the hospital, he's kind of just by himself.
Oh, it is. Oh, shit. Yeah, because he just walks into his backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's another scene in the movie where he walks into his backyard after Spot pisses on his wife. And he sees a light in the sky, but nothing happens.
That one.
Yeah. So that's what I was thinking. Is when did he actually get abducted? Was the point when he saw that first light in the sky after his dog pisses on his wife?
Man, see, I have a weird
it's weird
feeling that he might have actually got abducted in Dresden, or at least had the Tralfamadorians talk to him. Do they show those motherfuckers? Do they show them at all? They don't.
No, it's just
okay because they're like plungers with arms. I don't know how to. They're like
plungers with arms.
Green plungers with arms and faces. It's okay.
Yeah, all right.
That's what you went with. All right.
Hey, man.
He was trying to be as obtuse as possible, and that's what I mean about how funny the book is. Is that the main alien figures are plungers with arms, guys?
Yeah, I got you.
It's they didn't even try to skip on that one.
Right.
Do they? There's this really cool section when he's well, let's finish the timeline real quick before we start talking about this. So I guess the only other thing after that, plane crash, him waking up, is
he gets abducted.
Yeah, him getting abducted.
Him meeting Montana.
Yeah, so that's all that stuff. Yeah. Him being raised or farmed in a bubble.
Essentially, yeah.
He's the zoo. But then him trying to talk about the Tralfamadorians and all that stuff, and then getting shot.
Yeah.
And that's his death.
That's the end.
Of his life.
That's
the end of his life. Yeah, but that's not the timeline of the story.
No. This story jumps around a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of hard to piece together how his life works because of how much it jumps around. That's why it's hard for us to think of when he got abducted. I really can't remember precisely.
I would think that he would actually... I think it's more of a... well, because it's really weird, and we haven't really talked about the like central conceit of this book is that Billy Pilgrim himself is unstuck in time.
He is unstuck in time.
He doesn't experience time in a linear fashion. To some degree, it seems like he experiences it all at once.
Yeah,
so we're working from that concept of like how somebody goes through time.
So think about this, man. Think about this book. Think about what it is.
Yeah.
Think about, like, it came out in 69?
Yeah.
That's right? Okay. So, Billy Pilgrim's character is lighthearted in a way, and he's more of a fool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what they go after. But, only a short 10 years later, the Watchmen, man. The Watchmen would have been starting to get written, and I almost guarantee you that had to be some inspiration for
like Slaughterhouse-Five kind of inspired
Dr. Manhattan.
Yeah,
the Dr. Manhattan character, and the idea of being unstuck in time.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Because can you think of another character before that's unstuck in time? Like that?
Not really.
A wrinkle in time, potentially.
I don't think that. No, I don't think that was before that.
But my point is, though, that I think that might have been, an elaboration on the same type of character in a darker sense. Because, I mean, it's kind of what the Watchmen was in general.
That's pretty much it.
It's taking these concepts and then, how do we make this as dark and gritty as we can, but still make it seem palatable?
Right.
He wasn't trying to make it like Frank Miller. He wasn't trying to...
Right. But I think that's like interesting because it contributes a lot to his the way Billy Pilgrim's personality plays out a lot in at least the movie.
Yeah.
Because like I was saying to you before, throughout the majority of his life, right up until the point where he gets shot, if we look at it from a linear timeline, man, he's just coasting through shit. He is 100% apathetic about anything that's going around him. And it's like, he doesn't start being an active agent in his own life until he gets abducted. Yeah. It's almost like he was waiting for that point.
So you wonder how long he had been experiencing being unstuck in time.
Exactly.
Because, I mean...
Or if it even matters the way he experiences it, because it wouldn't matter precisely when he got unstuck. It's just that he got unstuck at all.
Sure, but I guess what I'm saying is, I wonder if there's like because
if there's like a moment where actually realizes what's going on.
Well, because I have a theory about this book, and I think it's something that is a little obvious, but it's also it's more deep than the initial meaning of what we're talking about, right? And I think that the book is a metaphor for PTSD. Okay.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I don't know too much about that in general. I mean, I know the basic idea of it. But, so I'm no authority to be like, yay, yes, that's definitely what it is. But I see what you're going with there. So I understand where you're going. Is what I'm saying.
Well, my idea is like that. A person, especially if you experience something super traumatic when you're a kid. So let's say, for instance, that moment when he was thrown in the pool when he was a kid, really affected him. Like, let's say, it's that
it was traumatic to some degree.
It was definitely traumatic for him.
Absolutely.
I mean, he explains it in that way of like that's one of his first strongest memories, kind of thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Or as a kid, that's one of his strongest memories.
Yeah.
And it's one that he probably goes back to all the time and thinks, oh shit, this is the thing that happened to me. And there's a possibility that event or something else that happened with his father or something else that happened with somebody else when he was a child caused something so bad in his brain for him to compartmentalize. right? Now, the thing is, PTSD can happen in a bunch of different ways. You know, I mean, some people are like that shell shock. Nam hiding behind the couch. Oh my God, they're coming to get me.
Yeah.
You know, some people, you know, you drop something on the ground and they're ducking for fire, right?
Yeah.
Other people, they go into a mental safe place. You know what I mean? They try to block themselves out from the rest of the world. So it's like if something traumatic happens around them, or if things get stressful, they have to leave. They have to go, you know, or they do it to themselves. They stop paying attention. They shut down.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's something that certain people have in a PTSD situation, right? So I really think that the metaphor of him being unstuck in time, the idea of him being abducted, has to do with his coping mechanism for him not being able to deal with life. It is a constant PTSD that he has, and a constant anxiety he has for existence in general.
Right.
So yeah, the only place where he feels safe is the Tralfamadorian bubble that they created for him. That might not even be real at all. It could just be a delusion in his brain, because it's the only safe spot he can go to. So what happens? He dreams and he goes to this other place.
Right.
Maybe he's been doing it since he was a kid, man. Maybe he's always gone to this special place that never fucking existed. It's just a dream to make him feel good.
Yeah.
That's potentially the deeper meaning to this story.
So it never happened.
That's even worse, isn't it? It was all a dream.
It's all a dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it, and I think that's a 100% solid theory and analysis of that. Yeah. I agree with that more than anything I came up with.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't really come up with much anything. Okay. It's like, and I kind of like, and I am glad you said that, and we are definitely going to have to watch this movie again and come back. So because I want to watch it in that light.
Okay, well,
because I've never even thought about that.
Okay, so is there anything else we'd like to talk about real quick? Because we have covered a lot of the film, and we've covered the pretty much the basics. I've talked about my theory. We're at about 30 minutes, right shy of 30 minutes.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because I might edit this weird. Again. So if this is kind of fucking you guys up, I'm sorry.
And you're welcome.
But
okay, so I think we're gonna take a break.
One more thing before we take a break, and I don't think this will take us too long to talk about. I have a note here. They keep talking about how safe Dresden is before the bombs drop.
Oh,
and why it's such a good place to be.
Can
we
talk about
war.
This? Oh, yeah, this is sad.
Yeah. So that was something that I picked up on with the movie, because everything leading up to. At least one character mentions Dresden and how it's not a target.
It's not a war zone.
It's not a war zone, and it's not even a target because there aren't any military facilities there. You know?
Okay, so yeah, this actually brings up the tough spot about this, which is part of the reason why I fell in love with this book. It's funny that I didn't talk about this, because to me this was so stark.
Right.
That it's almost not part of the book. This isn't fucking part of the book. This is facts. And that's why I liked it so much.
Yeah.
So interesting fact that I learned, did you know that the Dresden bombing was actually a much higher death toll than both combined of the Japanese bombings?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like Hiroshima was 89,000, and Nagasaki was 50,000, 50 something like that. Fucking Dresden is 157,000.
Jesus
in that
Christ.
One place.
You think that's just because it's a more dense area?
Yeah, I mean it was a.
Stop trying to rationalize this. That's not what this book is.
That's really not.
About.
Yeah, that's not what it's.
It doesn't really matter.
That's not what matters. Yeah, but the thing is, Dresden, Germany was a spot that, I mean, it was a beautiful historical area that was like full of old German architecture and all this stuff that...
Does he refer to it as the Land of Oz in the book?
I don't remember that.
Because they make a couple of Wizard of Oz references in the movie. Yeah,
I don't remember those specifically.
Yeah, but okay, so...
Sorry. Maybe though.
Sorry to detract you.
That's funny though. But no, it's just this beautiful place where people are just living their lives, and no, it's not a military zone.
Yeah.
And this is one of those disgusting things about war, and that's part of the reason why Dresden is a big deal about this, is Dresden had nothing to do with the war. You know? Hiroshima and Nagasaki had nothing to do with the war. These weren't where military bases were. We did those things to stop them from attacking us anymore.
Right.
We were like, okay, guys, you gotta fucking quit. Here's your civilians.
Yeah.
So we're not attacking military anymore. We're killing people.
Yeah.
You know?
It was an intimidation tactic.
But it worked.
Yeah.
But no one talks about Dresden.
No one talks about it.
Yeah. What's the guy's name?
They were even talking about it in the movie to a degree. It's like, why didn't they let anybody know about Dresden? Mm-hmm. You know, I think when he's in the hospital.
When he's in the hospital.
Yeah.
What's that guy's name? Do you remember?
I don't remember. I don't think they ever mention it.
Okay, because they definitely go into him a little bit more.
Because he's just a guy.
Oh, he's just a guy?
Well, I mean, he's writing a book.
But they don't really go into this dude very much.
No, they don't tell you who he is or any.
Did they have him and Billy kind of talking about his experience in Dresden eventually?
Because Billy mentions that he was in Dresden.
And he doesn't believe him, right?
And he doesn't believe. He's just like, let him write his own book.
Which he says that, but eventually he actually starts to believe the guy.
Yeah.
And that's part of where some of this information comes out. That's when a lot of that starts to get unfolded as far as facts of what happened in that war. And they're talking about why no one talks about Dresden.
Right.
You know? Dude, I didn't know this until I read this book.
Exactly.
You know? I like World War II history.
Yeah.
I still didn't know this. You know, this is some amazing shit that's kind of covered up in American history. It's like, we did something that's way more terrible than the thing that everybody thinks that we did was terrible.
Yeah,
this is bigger, and I mean, like, I don't know. I'm not saying one is worse than the other because they're not. Exactly. It's all just
all
bad.
the same. Yeah,
but
it's all bad.
We only showed half of the bad. That we
only showed half our work.
Yeah, that's right. We showed the Pacific side, and we were like, "Look what we did over here." Yeah. We didn't show the mainland Europe side and what we did to them. Yeah. You know, because Germany was so much the villain that we didn't sympathize with them. You know,
not at that point.
No, we sympathize with the Japanese a little bit more. We had Japanese nationals in America. We also. We're dealing with a country that got wrapped up into the Axis powers,
right?
Not somebody that had been a proprietor of it for so long. You know, with Germany, we were like, "Fuck Hitler, fuck Nazis," and because of that, we cared less about their civilians, and that is the shitty point about this whole story. Yeah.
Well, and I think the whole idea of Dresden being
a perfect place,
a safe place, for so long, and then that being foreshadowed, it really shines a light on the whole. There's no through line. There's no linear way that any of this shit happens. It just happens, and it's bad, and it sucks.
So it goes.
So anyways, take a break. Watch the movie.
Yeah, let's take a break. Let's watch the movie. We'll be back in an hour and a half. Is it right?
Or an hour before.
Oh.
Or an hour in either direction. I don't know. It's a flat circle, man.
It's all at once, man.
It's all at once. All right. Hey, we're back for round 2. So, Philip, we just watched the movie together. This would be my third time watching it.
Yeah, and my first.
Yeah, and I have to say that this movie took me a good long while to digest. And by this point, I think I am ready to say this is a good movie.
Yeah, it is. It's weird.
Yeah.
And I don't love the ending.
Okay.
But other than that, I liked it.
Yeah. So you were saying how the book kind of amplifies certain things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the accentuation in certain parts of the film was directed in a different way than I would have. Like I would have put a little bit more emphasis on certain details of the war. Like here's one that Scott and I were talking about going into this. Oh, hey, there's the guy that gets shot in the foot, and he goes to me, oh, I don't think he got shot in the foot.
Yeah,
I don't know what happened. And I was like, no, I'm pretty sure like Billy bumps into him and makes him shoot himself in the foot or some shit.
Yeah.
And they barely discuss it, and they almost tell you what happened, but they don't.
Yeah, exactly.
And in the books, you have just a little bit more context of why that's going on.
Yeah, and that just might be the nature
it's
of
a book.
Book versus film.
Exactly.
Yeah. But overall, you were saying that they pretty much translated it really well.
Really well, man. Yeah, and a lot of things that I would have thought before going into this, you probably couldn't do that very well in a movie.
Yeah.
It works well enough to represent the idea.
I mean, you never see the what is it?
Tralfamadorians.
Tralfamadorians.
Yeah. Tralfamadorians. I guess they really accentuate that A.
That sounds like a medication.
Yeah. Tralfamador.
Because we were talking about how it's not really clear whether or not Tralfamador is something that's actually happening to him, or if it's
him being delusional.
Him in his mind. Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like, there's a couple of things, right? Him saying all the shit about Tralfamador makes everybody think he's crazy. Right? If he starts professing about all this shit and brings himself into the public light, right? Then, okay, people are going to take notice and his name's going to get out there. So if Lazaro's still alive, then Lazaro is going to kill him because he's,
talking about Tralfamador.
And he's like, oh, fuck this Billy Pilgrim asshole. I'm going to go kill him. And so, but Billy knows that he threatened him. So it could be that he is self-actualizing this thing. Like he's making his death happen. Subconsciously.
Well, and there are things...
it has nothing to do with Tralfamador.
There'll be things that he sees, like, especially with, what's Montana, the starlet girl that he ends up with by the end of the movie, and I assume at some point in the book.
Oh, yeah.
But...
that's pretty much the same.
Yeah, but you see him, like, see her in the movie. Mm-hmm. That's obviously real. See her in the little pinup shot in the magazine. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that could be his subconscious...
Putting her
in it.
Yeah. That's right.
Kind of thing. They sow the seeds really well to, like, once you start asking those questions, it's like, this is an interesting...
It's almost like A Beautiful Mind.
Yeah.
Where you go, oh, shit, maybe he was just crazy the whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm getting at with the PTSD thing. Is that there's a lot of this that it could be cues from other points in his life, things that he liked. Hey, peace and quiet. Yeah. His dog, this pretty lady that's not mean to him. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those are all things he likes.
Yeah.
So
and that's his safe place.
That's his safe place. Yeah. So in his head, that might be just the spot he goes when he is under trauma.
Yeah. So where did the plungers with arms come in?
That's right. Yeah. So I don't know why they. I mean, I do know why, because it wouldn't make any fucking sense. Because as a book, you hear it and you go, that's silly. Yeah. But if you saw it, you'd be like, oh, come on, really, you did that?
Yeah.
And that might be part of the reason that some of the satire is left out of the movie, because it gets very silly in the books.
I gotcha.
Like almost to like a Monty Python, or like I was saying, like a Douglas Adams. Silliness,
kind of silliness and satire essentially. Yeah.
And they let that shine through in parts.
Pretty
good,
pretty good. Mostly with the aliens, because this one you don't actually see him. It's just a voice talking to him. And you were talking about.
Are you mating yet?
Are you mating yet? They got him from Sears.
They got all their stuff from a warehouse, from a Sears outlet warehouse. It's like a very specific. It's so fucking funny.
But when they're talking about the actual end of the universe, because he's saying, whenever they're aftermath of Dresden.
He said this looks like the end of the world, and he's like, yeah, this isn't how the world ends. As a matter of fact, we know exactly how the world ends because the Tralfamadores were experimenting with a fuel type.
Yeah,
and
the test pilot freaks out and hits the wrong button and then just destroys the universe. It's like,
and
really?
Earth just happens to be in that. It's not. It has nothing to do with the Earth.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I love that cool. Kind of. Grim but cheeky.
Yeah, kind of silly.
Yeah. I love it so much, and
Real
that shines out through a lot more stuff in the books than it does in the movie, because you get to hear Billy Pilgrim's thoughts through this whole thing.
Right,
the beat for beat's the same. A lot of the time, it might be arranged a little differently, but the beat for beat's the same. But you get to hear Billy's dumbass thoughts in the book.
Because he really isn't there, man. He is just aloof the entire time.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
I think in the movie it might even be a little clearer as far as the PTSD being the crux for the thing.
Well, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, because they show him getting thrown in that pool. It's obvious that since then he's had this traumatization to happen.
Right.
And it could even be that he actually fucking drowned enough to have a slight amount of brain damage, so that's caused him to have these, like for instance, not breathing for an amount of time could cause epilepsy or something along those lines, palsy of some sort, right?
Yeah.
So if you had epilepsy, then it could be like that Joan of Arc shit, where occasionally you just have these great visions, and with him he's seeing aliens instead of God.
Yeah.
these are absolute possibilities, you know. But you don't know, and that's part of the cool thing about Billy Pilgrim.
Yeah, it's very nuanced.
Yeah, it's nuanced, man. Yeah, and I think that nuance comes out pretty well in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, just going through notes, I got written down here, wow, those Brits are having a good time.
And they were having a good time in the book, too.
Yeah.
Oh, so I don't think... Did I mention the soap thing earlier when we were talking?
I don't think so.
Okay, so there's a part that I really liked, or that stood out to me a lot in the books, where it's when they first arrive at the British camp, or it's just a stop on the train route to Dresden.
Yeah.
But it happens to be a place where where it's a POW camp, and they have an entire section of Russians, and the Russians are all just skin and bones and just staring empty out into the
watching them walk
people.
up to where they're going.
But all these Brits come out and they're singing and happy and all this, and that's exactly like
putting on a show, man.
Putting on a show, and they do like plays, and they do that's actually I think where the Wizard of Oz stuff comes in. I think
in the book.
Yeah, I think they might have done a version of Wizard of Oz
because they mention they reference it a couple times.
Yeah, and they talk about Cinderella being a play that they do in the movie, which is another one that they do. But there's a part where after Billy wakes back up from the soup, from falling in his soup,
because like what the British lieutenant just
kept talking to him,
won't let him eat until he's done saying what he's got to say.
Yeah, and so later when he wakes up and he's there, he's being told that he should clean up. And they'd already talked about the abundance of provisions that they had, and so one of the things that they were saying though is, but we still have to get certain things from the Germans. So if you go take a shower, go grab you a bar of soap, and he gestures to this pile of soap.
Yeah.
And Billy looks over at the soap and realizes that it's the stuff that's been made from rendered Jew fat. Yeah, and he doesn't, and he knows that they don't know that.
Oh. So that's what kind of...
And he throws up all over himself.
Ugh. Yeah, definitely not in the movie. Yeah.
It's a good little scene though.
Yeah.
It's a there's something else that's in the books that I really, really love that's not in the movie. But I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
It's that almost every time that something like that happens, every time something terrible happens, they always say, "So it goes."
Yeah, because that wasn't it. You were saying that earlier, and I couldn't remember if that was anywhere in the movie.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah,
no.
not once.
They didn't even do it at the end of the movie, man.
Yeah.
If they had just ended it with, well, so it goes.
Yeah.
I would have been happy, but
been fine. But the way they ended it with...
Man, I did not like the ending at all. Yeah. I like the ending in the book because the ending in the book is pretty much them walking outside and talking about how peaceful it is.
Yeah.
After the war.
Yeah.
And the only thing you hear is the birds. And all they have to say is pooty wheat.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah. And that's fucking powerful.
And I almost think that even if they hadn't have said all that, but they had just had Billy walking out
and maybe hearing birds or something
and staring up into the clouds or into the trees and having that kind of like light through the trees, and nobody else really around or talking, no sounds, you know. I think that would have been a powerful moment, but instead they ended it on, they were trying to make a Hollywood happy note to the end of this movie that did not need that.
No.
So that's really the only thing I'd take away from the film that I can just say I didn't like. Everything else I was fine with.
Everything else is good.
Especially having read the book.
Yeah.
It's a good representation all the way up.
Yeah.
Except for that ending. Which the thing is that shit happens. It's not like that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
It's just the wrong place.
It's just the wrong place for it. Yeah. So, and you were saying that there wasn't a lot of like certain parts like kind of took place in different like in a different order to some degree.
A little bit, yeah, a little bit. Not to any degree that would really screw up your understanding, but I feel like it's like a okay, they transitioned to that
instead of this.
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So just going through the last of my notes. So Spot's a good dog.
Spot's an awesome dog.
I like Spot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Spot's cool. Just needed to mention that.
Yeah, see, that's part of my thing as far as the dog comes with him to Trafalmador.
Yeah.
That's his comfort zone.
Exactly.
Everything about that place.
Yeah, that was it. That was all my notes.
Yeah.
At that point. So is this good? I think we can definitively say at this point, yes. It's a good movie. It's a good book. If you haven't read it, if you haven't seen it, give it a watch. It's really good.
It's absolutely good. I got the paperback. On the back it says $8. I think I got it for like $5.
Yeah, I can imagine you find it pretty cheap now.
Yeah,
same thing with the movie.
Yeah, it's a 200-page novel that's very easy to read. Like it's the only reason it took me a couple of days is because I didn't read it sitting down all the way through.
Right.
Because I had other things to do.
Yeah.
But this is easily a day or two read if you just sit there and jam on it. It's so easy to read.
Hell yeah.
Big print. Tiny book. This is a tiny book. Right. Although all books look tiny now that I'm reading George R. R. Martin.
Yeah, exactly. Which hopefully I'll have that uploaded. It will be uploaded before this one is. So
it should be. Yeah.
You should be able to find that on our site, guys.
Which, by the way, just a little on the upkeep side, our second episode of that will be airing, or we'll be recording in the next couple of weeks. Yeah. I think we were either going to do, Advent Children or... I think Advent Children's a good one to do because of the timing. Final Fantasy VII remake coming out and everything.
Yeah, man, hit up that algorithm.
Exactly, hit the algorithm.
That's right.
Yeah, we're trying to milk you people.
We haven't tried to game it yet. We're gonna try it now.
It's the first time we're doing something that's relevant.
Yeah.
But Advent Children. What else did we talk about? I'd really like to do the jacket, but that's not going to be one of the next ones.
Yeah.
What you got, Scott? What you got coming up?
Man, it would be nice to do. I'd really have to think about it because I can't really think.
Mortal Engines.
Mortal Engines. We were talking about that one.
Neither of us have seen that. We think it'd be cool to watch it. Just
kind of blind watch.
Blind watch. Yeah. going into this with basically no expectations because neither of us care.
Yeah, I mean, really.
Yeah,
I want to see
mild interest. That's what we got.
Yeah, I want to see cities on the move.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Sounds cool. I like tank treads on buildings. That sounds great. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Something interesting I have not seen yet.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and from a director that we already like.
Yeah,
because we love Peter Jackson, man.
Yeah, well, I think he produced it.
Oh, he produced it?
Yeah, I don't think he directed it.
I wonder. Yeah. Okay, well, still.
But either way, he was involved in some capacity.
So, Mortal Engines,
Advent Children. If you'd like to sway the conversation on whether or not which one we do,
that's never going to work because of our release schedule, Scott.
Yeah,
you know
well.
Good thought, but
I'm trying, man. I was going to say you could hit us up at Gmail. The Mad Cinemist at gmail.com, guys. Hit us up there. You can get us on Facebook. Check us out on Spotify and Anchor. And that's it. That's all the housekeeping. Philip, final thoughts?
Yeah, shut up and watch the movie.
There we go. We got him.
Bye, guys.
Bye.